Generative AI truly has limitless uses, from engagement farmers tricking boomers on Facebook to Spotify injecting playlists with AI music so they don't have to pay real artists. Almost every industry is desperate to show us how AI can be used, probably at least part to appease shareholders, and you're probably already getting sick of seeing all those ads of people AI generating emails and other stuff. This is Artificial Intelligence here, technical clothing enthusiast. Surely fashion will show us the amazing potential of generative AI, right? Right? Now, I like new tech, I like the intersection of technology and fashion, and I like using technology to create stuff. I'm part of the generation that grew up on a cracked version of CS2, where the keygen played the hardest tracks you've ever heard. Generative AI is marketed towards people like me, particularly as a content creator, where it can supposedly expand my creative potential or improve my workflow. But then the ads I always see are like, I turn my boring normal photo into an enchanted wonderland with mushrooms and a castle in the background. Thanks, AI. Truly, my creative potential has become limitless. Apart from mechanical stuff like uncropping photos, I just haven't seen that much to convince me to use generative AI in my content beyond little silly experiments. But businesses and brands really want to use it, and generally, it's pretty bad, so let's explore that. The first wave of generative AI a few years ago was basically a gimmick for fashion. Someone would design a Nike shoe or storefront essentially by photoshopping a logo on a Gen AI image. Okay, fine, but then the largest fashion publications would repost this content asking, wouldn't it be cool if this was real? Or even describing things as concepts when they have nothing to do with the brand in question. I think in hindsight we can agree this was total slop designed to farm engagement. Why else would you add a Nike logo if not to start everyone arguing over whether they would or would not make that design real? Culturally, we've moved on from people calling themselves prompt artists, but I did catch Cyber magazine a few years ago making a generative AI t-shirt depicting a hellish futuristic landscape where the machines have taken over. A little on the nose. The text prompt used to make the image is part of the graphic for transparency, except they've blanked out some key words and phrases, including presumably the name of an artist here, to stop others from copying it exactly. If this was satire, it would honestly be a brilliant exploration of AI art and theft and the erasure of creators of original work, particularly when the image depicted is some kind of nightmare world. Don't steal our graphic that we stole from someone else. Not to mention the complex prompt is like 2 sentences. I'm sure the prompt artist spent minutes scratching their head over that one. I guess I can give a pass to a magazine merch line experimenting with some new technology as it becomes available to the public. This would be infinitely more embarrassing if it was attempted now or some massive brand was doing it. Not that it stops people in other industries like music artists using Gen AI art for their album covers. Like, did Julian Casablancas or Tears for Fears not have the resources to get an artist to work on their stuff? Someone with an interesting aesthetic or perspective? Because honestly, this stuff looks like something I would have picked from mobile wallpaper when I was 13. Fast forward to now in fashion, and generative AI marketing is where things are popping off. Brands using generative AI imagery to promote their real product. How are they doing this, and should we care? I was going to do the next bit here. It is so windy, we're going to have to find somewhere else, I think. There we go. So Mizela used generative AI in their marketing to show a campaign of their bags being used all across the world, celebrating the diversity of the brand, how women everywhere can enjoy what they do. The bags are shot separately in a studio, the rest of the image is generated in Midjourney. Victoria Beckham did a similar thing with this social media campaign featuring a weirdly long dog. Conceptually, this is a bit like a new form of mixed media, combining the real and unreal. The problem is, it's just not that interesting. I get the point for Mozilla was amazing business efficiency by doing a campaign like that without having to go to different locations, but to me, you have the ability to generate literally anything. Shows a bit of a lack of ambition or creativity to just do a bags around the world or aspirational lifestyle in the back of a car type image. We've seen this kind of stuff a bunch of times already. These campaigns are only of interest, only picked up media coverage because they used AI. Without that, there's really nothing particularly noteworthy about them. Saving money on shoots is great for brands, but not for us as the recipients of this marketing, who get subjected to some pretty generic content. We've probably seen all this stuff before, not to mention the creatives whose professions are now under threat by this trend for doing things cheaper and faster rather than better. Fast fashion brand Mango has done this as well, even using a semi-consistent AI model for one of its lookbooks. Great, you can put out more content about the constant influx of new clothing, but again, creativity does not seem to be the priority here. You could just do this stuff with a camera. I'm not even sure how helpful this is. An AI-generated model has no measurement, she doesn't wear a particular size, she doesn't even seem to have the same face image to image. It's kind of worse for us than even a low-budget shoot. The only thing that we're left with is that nice warm fuzzy feeling that in 2023 Mango's profits doubled to 172 million euros, and they reported revenue of over 3 billion. Quite a few brands have experimented with including AI in their campaigns. Fabric of the Universe seemed to be the most openly pro-AI brand I've come across, with plenty of social media content being AI-driven. I don't know if I can show this reel, but let me just say there are some very impressive simulated jiggle physics. I guess the reasoning here is the brand's target audience is more anime and gaming fans than fashion fans, so why not make use of manga style and other VFX without needing to pay for their creation. In fact, the brand owner mentioned that he's got better results doing this than paying artists, and overall is very much of the opinion that AI is just a tool, and any artist losing work because of it should toughen up and use AI themselves to get that work back and more. I feel like that attitude would not go down very well in art or fashion spaces. Whether brands are public about their use of AI or not, there are entire platforms to assist with all manners of the fashion business, from image to video to creating tech packs. And it's always in the name of bringing products to market quicker and cheaper, not better. But we don't really know the extent to which these tools are being used, particularly by larger fashion businesses. I have no doubt brands are using AI-generated content in mood boards, inspiration, those early stages of the design process. If you want references for a vibe or aesthetic or even some specific details, you can get that without needing that much knowledge of the area. Certainly no knowledge required of the designer's exact terminology, anything like that. I can literally ask for futuristic fashion, cyberpunk clothing, and I'll immediately get something back that looks kinda cool that I could make use of. With the amount of AI slop on Google Images, I think some brands are probably doing this inadvertently, but that doesn't equate to AI designed clothing. But what if a brand did base its identity around this concept of, we made this clothing with AI? Now, I would assume AI-generated clothing to be some Shein corpo garbage with the intention that 1,000 similar designs can be churned out with minimal thought to each one individually, but what I came across was something kind of the opposite, called borderline clothing. The brand's marketing is very small business, authentic, caring about the details, human touch, and that approach is getting more and more popular. We want a personal story to buy into, not just a faceless corporation. Borderline go as far as to ask their fans which version of a product they should bring to market. It doesn't get much more personal than that. AI comes into this process by generating the reference images for their releases, the sort of blank canvas, I suppose. They then manipulate this with Photoshop, they refine the design, they pick out the materials and the other details. I guess I can't hate on the results too hard. Looking at their hoodie, which seems to be the popular product, it's got a kind of non-standard cut, seems to be the kind of thing that people are after at the moment. Has this fun label detail at the back. I'm wondering if that was product of an AI hallucination, thinking that the hem is like the waistband from a pair of jeans. Nonetheless, I think the references are pretty clear. This is a vague amalgamation of the ultra oversized cropped hoodie from brands like Vetements, Huni, Fear of God Athletics, Yeezy Gap. Did we as consumers really need another option? I stuck the clothes rail in the doorway and now it's hard to leave. One sec. Cool, next scene. Again, I feel that AI benefit is weighted towards the brand, particularly because AI provided this marketing opportunity for them to get the Borderline name out there. An AI designed hoodie is the hook to get people watching. I'm sure there are plenty of experienced designers or pattern cutters that would love the exposure that they've gotten. However, this is a very small and a very new business. AI is almost like training wheels for them to have gotten this off the ground and to start building something for themselves. And I'd rather see a brand like this grow, evolve, develop their design skills rather than it be used by some massive brand that's just going to use it to churn out 100 new designs a day. At the lowest possible quality, of course. Probably will need to evolve as well. Like the AI marketing campaigns we looked at earlier, the uniqueness of AI designed clothes as a hook will wear off as other brands attempt it. And indeed, some larger brands have, from Hilliard Emil designing some SS24 pieces using AI but not telling us which ones, to Nike and Puma marketing specific sneakers as AI designed. G-Star also did some AI-based clothing, but I think was more a concept for some press coverage rather than actually being sold. I imagine in a few years these processes will start to be integrated to lesser or greater degrees, but won't really be considered a marketing opportunity. It'll come down to the design of the final product. Helping to start small businesses or shaking up how experienced designers look at things is a potential benefit of generative AI, although I don't think it's been fully realized yet. But I haven't shown you what the worst AI use is yet. If you're aware, when I talk about performance fashion or the type of clothing that I typically enjoy, we used to use the term techwear. Unfortunately, that word is now basically only going to find you AliExpress tier clothing and dropshippers trying to scam you. Well, thanks to AI, dropshipping sites have gotten a whole lot worse. I love it when retailers tell me to meet the time with these definitely real people. And every product has multiple paragraphs of AI-generated text. This isn't your average leather number. This isn't your average overcoat. This isn't your average jacket. This isn't your average raincoat. Dropshipping empowered losers to start up their own business whilst providing zero value to the consumer. They don't design products, they don't even hold stock, they just pass orders through to another company and charge you for the privilege. Now they don't even need to bother writing their own product descriptions. The images are real, at least because I've seen them on loads of other websites for the past 5+ years. But if you're shopping online, you definitely need to be aware that garbage merchants can and will use AI to try and make their websites look more legitimate. This site is actually so bad I could do a whole video about it as an educational piece of the kind of places to watch out for. If you think that would be interesting, then let me know. I fear we will never be free of this type of clothing. Where AI has an obvious benefit is the more mechanical stuff rather than creative, like using Google Lens to identify clothing. I've found that useful a couple of times. Maybe it could help us match aesthetics we like to specific brands or creators that we may enjoy to help us learn more about them. Creatively though, it's up to brands to use generative AI as a tool to provide truly meaningful, valuable, or interesting output that they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. Some brands are touching on that, but generally brands creating with generative AI have just given us more rather than better. And when I'm scrolling my feed every single day for the amount of new stuff coming out, when I see the amount of existing clothing that gets thrown away, I wonder if more is really what we need. The use of AI in creative industries is a really big topic. I have intentionally focused things on what it means for us as fashion consumers, but there are plenty of things to talk about from ethics, sustainability, cultural progress perspective. All of those things are absolutely important. There's a good video actually from Drew Gooden which covers some of those topics. But what do you think? Can AI give us something valuable in fashion? Is there something cool that I've missed? And if you want to join in some future fashion conversations, why not consider subscribing? But until then, thanks so much for watching the video, and I will catch you in the next one.